Hello everyone, I welcome you again to my session on electrostatics. Today we will talk about Coulomb's law of electrostatics. Earlier we had discussed about charges. We already have come to know that there are two kinds of charges, one positive and other one is negative. Like charges always have attractive forces among them? No. Like charges always have repulsive forces, and unlike charges they always have attractive forces among them. So Coulomb Charles Coulomb, he was a physicist. Charles Coulomb was complete name. Charles Coulomb in 18th century made his study and through his experiment on torsion balance measured the electrostatic force between any two charges accurately, and based on his study and through experimental observation he gave a law about the electrostatic force among the two charges. We can also call it simply the electric forces. But why the electrostatic force? Because we are measuring the force between two charges whenever these two charges are at rest. They are not in motion. This whole chapter belongs to the charges which are at rest. So what Coulomb has suggested? He said that the electrostatic force between any two charges. Suppose we have two charges of any kind. This is charge Q1 and this is charge Q. These are the charged particle or charged objects separated by some distance R. So they are separated by some distance R, for example, and the size of the particle will be very, very small in comparison to this distance between the charges, right? These are the two particles carrying charges. One is carrying charge Q1, other one is carrying the charge of amount Q2. It may be positive, it may be negative, or it may be like or unlike charges. So here in first hand we are talking about only the magnitude of electrostatic force. Okay. So according to the Coulomb's law, whenever there are two charged objects separated by some distance, so that the size of the objects is very, very small in comparison to the distance between the charges or the objects. In that case, what is the value of what is the magnitude of this electrostatic force between these two charges? It is given by, it is directly proportional to the product of the two charges, Q1 into Q. And also this electrostatic force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the two charges. So this is the Coulomb's law. So it is presently in the form of proportionality. We convert it to inequality. So according to Coulomb's law, this force, electrostatic force among two charges, becomes equal to K, where K is the constant of proportionality, into Q1 Q2 upon R square. So this is about Coulomb's law of electrostatics. Means the measurement of electrostatic force between two charges which are separated by some distance. So Coulomb's law is nothing but it gives a measurement of the magnitude of the electrostatic force among two charges, right? Okay. If it is a force, then obviously it has units in SI system as Newton. Okay. The important point here to understand is first this K. But before that, let us slightly elaborate this Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law says that the electrostatic force among two charges which are at rest lying at some distance R, it is directly proportional to the product of the two charges. That means more is the quantity of charge on the particle at position A or at position B, for example, as we are taking this equation. So more is the strength of the charge, stronger will be the force between the charges. That is the first understanding of this part. And what about this? According to Coulomb's law, electrostatic force is also inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the charges. this force varies inversely. That means it reduces or it becomes weak as the distance between the charges is increased, right? And how it decreases? With a factor of square. So this in separate way we can write it. F is varying as 1 upon r square. This is called as, this notation of the force between any two particles is called as the inverse square law. Okay, so this is according to the Coulomb's law based on his experimental observation on the torsion balance, right? Okay, now we talk about this K. The value of K, which is constant of proportionality, it is given to be, it is known to be 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. Units are just to give the final unit of the force to be Newton, that's all. And value is 9 into 10 to the power 9, which is very large. If you recall about Newton's law of gravitation, you may have found this as the force, gravitational force among two mass objects is given by G into m1 into m2, the product of the masses among which the gravitational force is being measured, divided by the square of distance between them. Okay, so here G is the constant of proportionality. We call it at that place gravitational constant. The value of G is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11, right? Newton meter square per kilogram square. So if we compare the constants in case of electrostatics and in case of gravitational force, then in case of gravitational force, constant is very small in numerical value, and in case of electrostatic it is very large. That is the point of importance here. So K gives the value of constant, and on what value K depends, how value K is, the value of K is determined. It is determined by the presence of medium between the two charges. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Okay. So if we are interested here to define how much 1 Coulomb charge is there, by using the Coulomb's law we can define the unit for charge. Okay, so what is 1 Coulomb? This we can define from the Coulomb's law. From Coulomb's law, this force F is equal to, for example, we substitute the value of K, it is 9 into 10 to the power 9 into Q1 into Q2. Suppose that Q1 is 1 Coulomb and Q2 is also 1 Coulomb, divided by, and they are separated by the distance r is equal to 1 meter. Right? Okay, you can of course write the units of this numerical value K, Newton meter square per Coulomb square. So on calculation, so what we are assuming here, that the two charges are of 1 Coulomb each and they are separated by a distance of 1 meter. So we are taking the unit charge and separated by a unit distance. So that is the only way to define the 1 Coulomb of charge by using electrostatics, Coulomb's law of electrostatics. Okay, from here the force comes out to be, so whenever this is the situation, then how much is the force among these two charges of 1 Coulomb each separated by 1 meter distance? So it is given to be 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. So from this understanding, we can define how much 1 Coulomb charge is there. We can define 1 Coulomb charge as 1 Coulomb charge is that charge which exert a force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton on another charge which is lying at a distance of 1 meter. So that is the simple way to define 1 Coulomb of charge from the Coulomb's law of electrostatics. Let me define it once again. 1 Coulomb of charge is that charge which exerts a force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton on what? On a charge of Okay, so I have just written the statement of 1 coulomb of charge based on this simple representation. So 1 coulomb is that quantity of charge which exerts an electrostatic force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. Please put this value here. Electrostatic force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton on another charge of 1 coulomb. Another charge is also 1 coulomb, which is lying at a distance of 1 meter. So that is the simple understanding of Coulomb's law and 1 coulomb of charge. Now I will like to elaborate this constant little further, because this is important to understand. Okay. So this constant K here, affects the force between the two charges separated by some distance very much, and the value of this constant depends upon the medium which is lying between the two charges. So this medium is of very much importance. In first case, if we are replacing the medium between the two charges by the water, for example, or in any other medium, value of K decreases very much. For example, for water it becomes 1 upon 80 times. That means the force, for example, this is for air oblique, we can say it is for vacuum. So this is the expression we are writing for the vacuum, means there is no medium between the two charges, or it is a free space. This is the expression. And if we are replacing the medium between the two charges with the water, for example, so value of K reduces by 1 upon 80 times. So the force in case of water between same two charges separated by the same distance but placed in the water medium, the force becomes equal to 1 upon 80 times the force between the charges lying at the same distance in the vacuum. So that is the importance of this constant. So value of K, this constant of proportionality, depends upon the medium which is lying between the two charges. Right. Okay. So this value of K is calculated as K is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. Here 4 and pi, these are just constants. Epsilon, this is the symbol we make use for the property of the medium. The property of the medium is here called as the permittivity of the medium, or in more appropriate word, it is the absolute permittivity of the medium which is present between the two charges. So if the medium between the two charges, it is a free space, or it is a vacuum, or even it is air, because the value of epsilon naught, permittivity of this air, it lies very close to that of the air, or we can say vacuum. Vacuum. Okay. So for vacuum or free space, we put a O here, so it becomes epsilon naught. For any other medium, we can write it as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon for any other medium. So this constant is the one which is the property of the medium that determines the calculation of this constant of proportionality. So it is the point of interest here. So this epsilon naught, it is the absolute permittivity of the free space or vacuum or air. And if medium is other than free space, vacuum or air, then we represent it by the absolute permittivity of that medium. Right? Okay. Value of epsilon naught means permittivity, absolute permittivity for the free space, or we can say vacuum or in air. This is given to be 8.85. I am writing it as 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12. Right? Meter square coulomb square, per coulomb square per Newton. So this is the value of epsilon naught. If we are using free space or vacuum or the air medium between the two charges, in order to calculate the electrostatic force by using Coulomb's law, we make use of this value. If we put this value here and make the calculation, we get the value 9 into 10 to the power 9 with the same units of Newton meter square per coulomb square. So this is the simple representation and understanding of what is epsilon naught or permittivity. So in simple way we can define the permittivity, or we can say absolute permittivity, as it is the property of the intervening medium between the two charges which decides the strength of the electrostatic force among the two charges, because if we change the medium, the electrostatic force changes accordingly. So that is the clear understanding of absolute permittivity of any medium, and this is called as the absolute permittivity of a medium other than the air, free space, or we can say vacuum. We can also establish the relationship between these two. So in first case we write the Coulomb's law for the two charges separated by some distance whenever they are placed in the vacuum. So we are writing this method. So we can change this equation to this one. So the electrostatic force becomes equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught in case of vacuum into Q1 into Q2 upon R square. And what if we replace the medium with some other medium whose permittivity is given by epsilon? We write the equation for that particular medium as F for that medium. I am writing it as this symbol. This equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon, because the permittivity for medium is epsilon, for example, into Q1 Q2 upon R square. Now we divide these two equations. Let us try to understand what it takes the form. So F vacuum divided by F medium. We simply divide this equation number 1 with the equation number 2. Okay. So this becomes equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 Q2 upon R square divided by 1 upon 4 pi epsilon into Q1 Q2 upon R square. We are not changing the magnitudes of the charges. We are also not changing the separation between them. We are only changing the medium so that we can understand the effect of medium alone. Okay. So whenever we make some calculation here, all other values just cancel out. So what we are left with, F vacuum and F medium. This ratio becomes equal to what? It becomes epsilon upon epsilon naught. If you make simple mathematics, this epsilon goes up and epsilon naught goes below, and all other quantities just cancels out mathematically. So this ratio, what it suggests, what actually we are doing, we are trying to establish the relationship between permittivity of the free space and permittivity of any medium. So here it is the comparison, or we can say relationship. So epsilon upon epsilon naught, it simply means the ratio of permittivity of the medium with respect to the permittivity of the vacuum. Permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of the vacuum. This is called as the relative permittivity of that medium. Relative permittivity means absolute permittivity of the medium with respect to the permittivity of the free space, or we can say vacuum. So we are comparing. Relative permittivity means we are comparing in the similar manner as we discussed the relative refractive index. Okay. So this is the relative permittivity of the medium, which is now replaced with, and this is the relative permittivity with permittivity of the free space, or we can say vacuum. So simply we can write the relative permittivity or this is also represented as capital K. This is small k, this is capital K. So please make this difference clear. This is also called as dielectric constant. So this relative permittivity simply takes the form as electrostatic force between charges in vacuum to the electrostatic force between the same two charges at same distance in the medium. So this is the clear representation of relative permittivity of any medium. Simply we can define it as, it is defined as the ratio of the electrostatic force between two charges separated by some distance to the electrostatic force between same two charges separated by the same distance in other medium, or in that medium whose relative permittivity we are defining. So that is the relationship between absolute permittivity of the medium and the absolute permittivity of the vacuum, or we can say free space. So that is all for today. So we have discussed about Coulomb's law of electrostatics. So we have written its formula statement, and then we have defined 1 coulomb of charge, and lastly we have understood and derived the relationship between permittivity of the free space and permittivity of the medium. This is the permittivity of free space, this is the permittivity of any other medium, right? So that's all for now. On the next day or next time we will represent the Coulomb's law in its vector form. Thank you.